Hi, good evening. You're tuning into AWANI tonight, and my name is Saraya Mia. How to assure our data on MySejahtera is secure, and Interceptors the way forward to solving river plastic pollution? Let's find out. There will be no increase in toll rates for the LDP, Smart, Sprint and Kasas highways in Klang Valley. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the 4 highway concession companies will be undergoing restructuring exercises and the toll rates will remain unchanged until the end of their concession period.
The move, he added, was expected to reduce compensation costs from January 1st this year and will enable the government to save at least 4.3 billion ringgit in toll subsidies. Giving further details on the restructuring exercise, Senior Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said a new non-profit company, Amanat Lebuh Raya Rakyat ALR Berhad, will take over the 4 concessionaires with highways in the Klang Valley and has offered to buy all 4 companies. ALR's mandate is to maintain the current toll rates and accelerate the return of the concessions to the government upon settlement of any debts. Fadilah added that the government has ensured that ALR will retain all staff currently serving under the concessionaires, adding that the status of all employees under these companies is guaranteed.
The European Union has accepted Malaysia's request to recognize the MySejahtera certification as being equal to the EU's digital COVID certificate. EU's ambassador to Malaysia, Michalis Rokas, in a tweet said the decision will enter force beginning today.
Rokas said this is expected to boost business and tourism, just as Malaysia reopened its national borders last Friday. On 10 March 2022, following a request by Malaysia, the Commission has carried out technical tests to prove that the COVID-19 vaccination and test certificates issued by Malaysia are in accordance with its vaccine management system. The Commission had issued its approval, agreeing that Malaysia shall be connected to the EU Digital COVID Certificate Trust Framework. So far, 35 non-EU countries and territories have joined the EU Digital COVID Certificate system, with Singapore being the first among the Southeast Asian countries to make the list.
The conundrum around the change of ownership of the MySejahtera app has raised eyebrows on security of data collected through the COVID-19 management app. We speak to digital rights advocate Mariam Lee on how the government can reassure citizens of their data safety.
First of all, the use of the MySejahtera app was mandated by the government for COVID-19 intervention measures, and that was the reason why citizens agreed to use it in the first place. And if the ownership and the management of the data has changed hands, then the terms of service may need to be revisited, because we, as the users of the app, we would have to consent to use the app. And if the use of the app is already going beyond or outside the for the original purpose that we consented for, then essentially we are like being manipulated into using an app that we may not feel safe using, or we don't trust using, and that's the problem there.
She called for proper transparency in what the government plans to do with the MySejahtera app and the data collected from it.
To ensure transparency, actually the government has full control. They can talk about how the data is being collected, and then where the data is stored, and then how the data is going to be used. First of all, that's what we need to know. And secondly, how do we know that the data is really secure? Can we delete the data after a while that we don't want the data to be anywhere in anybody's server anymore? Can we do that? And all these things does not necessarily need legal measures. These things can be in the privacy policy of the MySejahtera app itself. Whether or not it is being owned or managed by the government or the private sector, they all have privacy policies. And these, when spelled out in their privacy policy, that is one step forward towards ensuring that transparency and accountability of the app.
Mariam warned that without transparency, citizens may be wary about trusting the government in the future.
We are seeing that the beginning of the potentially alarming future of digital authoritarianism where everything can happen in that particular app, and they can monitor you from that one single app and control your behavior based on what access you get from the app. So these are the things that these are the questions that we want to answer. What are the limits here? What are the limits of the app, and how can we ensure that our freedom and our rights are not violated when this data is in the hands of the government or even the private entity?
We'll continue after the break. Stay with us.
Semangat Ramadan on demand.
Semua kita wajib dakwah. Transformasi jadi lebih besar.
Dapat sumber energi baru.
Hiasi kediaman anda seindahnya.
This is every girl's dream.
Menu yang sangat simple.
Hidangkan juadah berbuka yang enak.
Canggih ni.
Kau dah balik nak? Selama pakcik kat dalam pakcik okey ke?
Itu kau punya.
Luangkan masa bersama keluarga. Semangat Ramadan. Box sets on demand. Stream di Ultrabox dan aplikasi Astro Go.
Visuals you've just seen are conditions of the Klang River, which had been one of the world's top 50 most polluted rivers. Efforts have been underway to mitigate the waste problem that has been choking the river. And in fact, the amount of rubbish collected in the river showed a drop from 1,500 tons to 800 tons a month ago, following the 2019 deployment of the Interceptor, a river cleanup technology that prevents plastic waste from entering the ocean. Through a joint effort by the Selangor state government via the Selangor Maritime Gateway Project and Dutch NGO The Ocean Cleanup, a total of 77,000 metric tons of waste has been scooped up by 2 interceptors and 7 log booms along the 56-kilometer stretch of the Klang River. But founder and CEO of The Ocean Cleanup, Boyan Slat, says more needs to be done.
Ultimately, what we want is we want to see dirty rivers coming in and clean rivers coming out. You know, our mission is to rid the world's oceans of plastic, and we can only be successful if we stop the plastic in these rivers, because the rivers, they are the ones taking the plastic to the ocean. So yeah, of course we've done. So Interceptor 2 has been our champion so far. It's been the top scorer, so it's been operating very well. But yeah, of course we do still see trash going to the ocean, so that's why we decided to put a second interceptor in, and now we're also working on a bigger plan to see, together with the log booms that are already there and these 2 interceptors, how can we completely take off this river.
The autonomous and solar-powered Interceptor uses a barrier and conveyor belt system that gathers and extracts plastic from rivers. Its latest deployment, Interceptor 005, is locally built in Klang and can catch up to 100 tons of trash daily. Boyan says there are plans to deploy the Interceptor in other rivers in Malaysia.
Of course, for the River Klang, our job is not done yet. There's still a lot of trash going to the ocean, so we need to do more. We're ready to help. But at the same time, we also look forward to work together on other rivers in Malaysia. So we're now looking at some rivers that are more north of Selangor, like the sort of Butterworth area. Separately, we're also looking at rivers in the Johor state now. Tebrau River, for example, is one of them. So yeah, it's Malaysia. We love Malaysia. It's a beautiful country. We need to keep it clean, and that's why we're going to see a lot more interceptors here.
According to Syaiful Azmin, Managing Director of Landasan Lumayan Sendirian Berhad, the master developer of Selangor Maritime Gateway, the interceptors are part of a wider initiative to rehabilitate and reinvigorate the Klang River.
We are not only looking in terms of the river cleaning, we also looking at how can we develop lands along the Klang River. And previously, as you can see, all the development are not river-oriented development. But now we are change the orientation to make more development help us to appreciate river as their main theme for development. And as you mentioned also, after we managed to remove the waste and the water quality improved, now we are looking to make a Klang River as the source of water supply for Selangor. And it has started with Sungai Rasau treatment plant for 700 mld, which is also under our sister company, Selangor.
On the foreign front, Shanghai will stick to its policy of separating babies and children from their parents if they test positive for COVID-19. As the world heads into loosening restrictions, the Chinese city is now under its strictest lockdown since the pandemic started. Some 25 million people in Shanghai remain in lockdown, which began its first phase over a week ago. Under China's zero COVID policy, anyone found positive, even asymptomatic or have mild symptoms, must be isolated. This includes babies and children with family members who do not test positive. Authorities say an infected child younger than 7 would be treated in a public health center, while teenagers would be isolated in quarantine centers. Children whose parents are also positive are allowed to live in the same place as the children. Shanghai logged 9,000 new virus cases on Monday. Embattled Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has proposed former Chief Justice Gulzar Ahmed to be caretaker Prime Minister. This is according to the leader of his ruling party, Fawad Hussain, who took to Twitter to declare that Khan has nominated Ahmed for the post. He added that Khan also conveyed his decision to President Arif Alvi, who ordered the dissolution of Pakistan's National Assembly yesterday in a step towards early election. Khan has faced an attempt to oust him from office in recent days, but in a move that has roiled the country, members of the Prime Minister's party yesterday blocked a vote of no confidence in Khan and dissolved Parliament. Khan had claimed the vote was part of a US-led conspiracy to remove him, but the US has denied this. Furious opposition politicians filed a petition to the Supreme Court to rule on whether the move to block the vote was constitutional. The Supreme Court convened today, and the hearing will resume tomorrow. In a rare appearance on the Grammy stage by a political leader, Ukrainian president brought a touching moment to the 64th Annual Grammy Awards. He made a virtual appearance highlighting the impact of Russia's invasion of his country and appealing for support to end the war.
In the pre-taped speech, he likened the invasion to a deadly silence, threatening to extinguish the dreams and lives of the Ukrainian people.
The war, what's more opposite to music? The silence of ruined cities and killed people. Our children draw swooping rockets, not shooting stars. Over 400 children have been injured and 153 children died.
His speech was followed by a heartfelt performance by singer John Legend, who was joined by other Ukrainian artists. The Grammys was a big night for artists who walked away with the event's 4 biggest honors. John Batiste for Album of the Year, Olivia Rodrigo for Best New Artist, while Silk Sonic, the magnetic team of Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, won Record and Song of the Year with Leave the Door Open. Other notable performers such as Lady Gaga and BTS also took the stage with their high-energy performance, captivating audience present and at home. Billie Eilish in her performance also honored the Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins, who died March 25th, sporting a black t-shirt with his image.
A surprise announcement on an already compulsory BM language requirement highlights hurdles faced by local universities in attracting foreign students. Tonight on Consider This, we ask our guests about obstacles to our education hub ambitions. That's all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again on the next episode.